You might have heard that Tesla CEO Elon Musk now holds a major stake in Twitter. He was set to join the company's board, but then those plans reversed. Before all the back and forth, he reignited one request that Twitter users have had since nearly the beginning of the platform. Where is the edit button? Musk polled his followers on Twitter to see if they wanted it, and millions weighed in, with nearly 74% voting in favor of it. An edit button might sound familiar because you're already used to seeing them on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. But on Twitter, it might look a little different. Let me catch you up on why it's complicated for Twitter and give you a brief history on social media edit buttons. I'll also talk about what the feature might look like on Twitter once it launches and how it might be different from what you're used to. Let's go back in time to when Twitter first launched. The year is 2006, and you're sending tweets out into the world the same way you send an SMS text message. You only have 140 characters to get your message right. Text it to this number, but there's nothing you can do to take those tweets off of other people's phones if they got the alert via text message. To clean up or clarify what you meant, you'd have to send a new tweet or delete your tweet from the website. But to be fair, Twitter wasn't the only social media company that didn't allow you to edit. Facebook also wouldn't let you change a status after you posted it, regardless of how many typos you made. That is, until 2013. That year, Facebook started letting users edit all their posts and comments. And the following year, Instagram started letting users retroactively tweak their captions. And you don't really have to worry too much about people trying to rewrite history. When someone changes the wording of a post, anyone who sees the post can see what changes were made, at least on Facebook. And 8 years later, on Twitter, we still don't have an edit button, despite it being the platform's most requested feature. Social media experts told me on Twitter, things are slightly more complicated, where people follow politicians and thought leaders every word. And since tweets are public by default, posts on Twitter can go viral a lot more quickly than they might have on other platforms. Lots of users see Twitter as a hub of political discourse and for news. And just like in the old days, once you put it out there, you can't go back and change what you said. Users see that as a way of holding people and institutions accountable for what they post. But the ability to edit tweets would allow tweeters to dial back language. It also allows them to double down on their message if it starts to go viral. And for a long time, Twitter did not want to change. Just 2 years ago, Twitter's CEO at the time, Jack Dorsey, said that an edit button was unlikely in Twitter's future. But it turns out Twitter has been working on an edit button since last year. Though not everyone is excited about the possibility of an edit button. People against an edit button argue that it could be used to make more substantial changes. A user could revise a tweet after it's gone viral, completely altering its meaning and potentially misleading other users. For active users, the news of a potential edit button could mean a few things. Visually, it might look something like this mock-up Twitter released. Also, Twitter says it's figuring out how to add parameters, so it might work differently than how it does on Facebook and Instagram. One idea the company has is to create time restraints, so you would only be able to edit a post within a certain window of time. Twitter could also add other signifiers showing that a tweet was changed, and it could restrict the amount of characters you're allowed to alter. The company's head of consumer product, Jay Sullivan, tweeted this: "Without things like time limits, controls, and transparency about what has been edited, edit could be misused to alter the record of the public conversation. But if you want the tool, you'll have to pay. At least at first." Twitter is beta testing it in the coming months for people who sign up for Twitter Blue. It's a subscription service for $2.99 a month that gives you more ways to manage your Twitter account. And it'll also let you customize the app. Twitter declined to comment beyond its public tweets. If you're like me and barely tweet, an edit button might not mean so much. You may occasionally run into someone trying to abuse the new feature by tweeting something obnoxious to drive up their engagement and then changing it to something more mild. I mean, it is social media after all. But at least you'll be able to keep misspelled words from lingering around on your profile for all of eternity.